increases, when the overregulation hits the American people for no useful purpose, because it's not going to reduce CO2, then someone's going to have to stand up and say, we knew all the time that the science was cooked. That's my question.
I have a two-word answer. I disagree, but just let me respond to three things, Senator, and I'm happy to do additional things for the record if that's necessary. I do not agree that the IPCC has been totally discredited in any way. In fact, I think it's important to understand that the IPCC is a body that follows impartial and open and objective assessments. Yes, they've had concerns about email. I do not defend the conduct of those who sent those emails. There is peer review, which is part of the IPCC process. There are numerous groups of teams and independent researchers, all a part of coming up with IPCC findings such that even the IPCC has said, while we need to investigate and ensure that our scientists are held to a standard of scientific conduct that we can be proud of, we stand behind our findings. And so I can't agree with you there. I'm sure you're not surprised. I don't agree with you on the job killing. I actually believe, as the President does, that we have to have a foundation for growth in this country and that Americans want clean energy and see the value of investing in a future for generations to come. And if we want to make that investment, we have to change from being totally dependent on fossil-based power without controls for carbon, without a price for carbon, and we have to do that. And I have to tell you that it strikes me when I hear about these doom and gloom forecasts for economic ruin that, you know, the Clean Air Act amendments predicted a quiet death for business across the country. That's what we were told. A cap and trade program, a program to reduce pollution through market incentives. And what really happened is that the U.S. economy grew by 64%, even as acid rain pollution was cut by 50%. There are ways to make smart environmental investments and policy. I commit to you, sir, that I would do nothing less. As I sit in the chair, it's too important to our country, economically, but also environmentally. But to sit here and say that these policies and a move towards clean energy won't be good for jobs in this country, I simply.
You know, I would appreciate that if I were the one who is saying this. This was MIT. This is the Wharton School. They talk about the economic destruction of our country, and then of course the comment you made, I do appreciate. Except that's the reason that I quoted all the Atlantic, the Guardian, all these newspapers, all these publications who are now saying that the science wasn't right. So it's not me saying it, I'm quoting others, because I don't have the credibility, I understand that. But certainly when the whole nation turns around and people say, this should be a wake-up call. We're basing this major step, this endangerment, on science that we know now is flawed. And that's the reason I quote other sources, so I don't have to quote myself.
Well, I think we have to quote sources like the National Academies of Science. I think we have to talk about the AAA.
Well, how about the IPCC? Isn't that a pretty good source?
Well, we just talked about the IPCC and said that I absolutely agree you can look into emails and any allegations that come up, but that, you know, science can be a bit messy. The dust will settle, but I have not at this point seen anything that changes my belief that the endangerment finding is not only on sound ground, but will stand up to scrutiny and challenge.
And the IPCC said the science is not settled. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Senator,